What's going on, y'all? This is Rashad from RashadBeats.com. Welcome back to another BeatNerd101 tutorial. And today we're gonna be doing something a little bit more, not necessarily complex, but we're gonna be talking about mixing. And within mixing, we're gonna be talking about how to use the EQ, the parametric EQ in your FL Studio program. The best thing about the EQ is its simplicity. And once you understand what it does to your sounds, you'll start to understand how it really works and how you'll be able to make certain sounds stand out compared to other sounds. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. As you can see, I already have a pre-made beat that I made strictly for this tutorial. It's not mapped out yet, but I'll play it for you guys just so you guys can hear it. Make sure I turn it up. Now, as you can see, the beat is basically done, but we're gonna do a couple of little things just to give it that structure, and we're gonna also clean it up using our EQs. So let's go ahead and go to our mixer at the top right here. Click on this, and let's make sure everything is in our mixer. Right now I'm using Electrax, and a reminder to notify that all your sounds are in the mixer board. You look right here where it says FX, and you can put them anywhere you want. So right now the first Electrax is right here. So let's go ahead and break it down. We're gonna start with this first melody, and I'm gonna turn it down up here just so you guys can have a better idea. So what you will want to do when you're starting beats, or when you're creating a beat, always start with your EQ. So go to your FX chain right to the right of your mixer, left click, and go to Parametric EQ 2. Now I'm gonna play the sound, and you'll be able to see the frequency according to the parametric EQ. Now, the main thing with equalization, you want to do slight changes when it comes to your parametric. And a lot of times, like this sound has a lot of bass. So what I'll do is I'll take number 1 and I'll ease it all the way down. And what this is doing, this is cutting out frequencies that I don't want. So 1 to the 2, as you can tell right here, if you read this, it says low bass, bass, low mid, mid, upper mid, pass, and treble, I'm sorry. And these are all your different frequency ranges. So from high, mid to low. Now, I don't want too much bass in this melody, so I'm gonna keep number 1 further down. And then what I'll do next, I'll emphasize it a little bit by upping the 3 just a little bit, a couple hertz up, just to give it some more bass, or just to give it some more shine with it. But mainly, the main thing is to take the bass out of this melody, so I won't have it meshing with my 808 or any other low bass that I need. Okay, we're gonna actually go down the line. So that was our first melody. Just rename this to melody 1. Let's go to our next melody, and then we're gonna do percussion. And because this beat is pretty simple, I'm gonna do the same exact thing I did for the first melody. I'm gonna bring my number 1 all the way down, but this time I'm gonna emphasize the 4 band and bring that up just a little. And these slight alterations is what is gonna add the crispness to your beat. So when you're doing EQs, your main thing is to take out certain frequencies that you feel clash with your main beat. So next one. So for this one, I'm going to keep number 1 same way, just bring it down, bring it a little closer. And number 4, I'll bring that up as well. As you can see, the main hit points of the frequency is between the low mid and the mid. So because of that, I won't really have to do too many alterations. I'll just take the bass out, which leaves space for my 808 to hit and my kick to hit as well. And then I'll still have a pretty clean sound. So that's it for that one. Let's go to our next melody. And as you can see, the best way to really do this is to single them out and do them one by one and listen to them thoroughly, so you'll know what you want to add or what you want to cut out, because you can do whatever you like with these. And I'm going to show you exactly how much of a difference it makes when you play around with it and you get a feel for the sound. But you really want to just cultivate them. You want to cultivate your EQ to a point where it makes the sound stand where it's supposed to stay. Like so. Let's keep it at 5. So each sound is doing something different, and each sound is giving each other space. That way they are working in harmony. Now let's look at our hi-hats. The hi-hats are usually the easiest thing to EQ, because all you really have to do, as you can see right here, all you really have to do is press 1, bring the band down, and bring it a little bit closer. The closer you get, the higher the hi-hat. So you don't want to squeeze it too tight to the 7, unless that's a feel that you want. Everything is optional. But for this, I'm going to just leave it over. Around 194 hertz is fine. And then another thing I like to do is I like bringing the 7 a little bit closer to where the hi-hat is more prominent. So as you can see, it's more prominent around between the upper mid and the pass. That's cool. Now let's hear our kick drum. Right now our kick drum is already turned up on our side channel. I already turned it up to 100%. And I'm going to add an EQ to this one. Now when you're dealing with kicks, each kick is different. You want to find the sweet spot for the kick. Now for this kick, I'm going to bring the 1 to the left, bring it all the way down, just so, because we need the bass. We need our kicks. We're going to need our 1, so we're not going to do like how we do for our hi-hats. And as you can see, that's not a good way to mix your kick, because you're losing bass. So I'm gonna bring this down, bring it over, and number 2, I'm gonna bring number 2 to about 88 hertz. This is a sweet spot for the kick, and this is where it hits the most. Now as you can see right here to the right, it's clipping. So because of its clipping, it's going to distort. But in order to stop that, just go, oops, I wasn't supposed to click that. In order to stop that, go to number 8 on your FX chain and find a compressor. And my favorite compressor in FL Studio is the Fruity Soft Clipper. Now we have a limiter, and we have a pretty hard hitting kick with the sweet spot untouched. Another thing I also like to do too, I might bring the 7 down just a little bit, just to get rid of any tight frequencies. And then we have our clap. Our clap is hitting decently, but if you want your clap to hit harder, add another EQ. Let's listen to it. So it's hitting around the 5 and the 6 the most. Usually with claps, number 6 is the best way to increase the hit and increase the slapping sound of it. So as you can see, as I turn this up on the 6, to the right of my volume goes up along with the EQ. So I want my clap to stand out, so I'm gonna keep it around this 6, which is 2,497 hertz, and that's cool. By the way, I don't really pay attention to the hertz. I pay attention to really how it hits and how it sounds, but I'll let you guys know the hertz just so you guys can get a better idea of the numbers and how the numbers work and so on and so forth. But I digress. So everything has an EQ on it. Let's bring our hi-hats to the left. Now we have our 808. Now the 808 is going to follow the same process as the kick. We're going to put an EQ right on the first band. And then what I'm going to do the same thing as I did for my kick. I'm going to bring the 1 over a little bit, just like so. And because I like the way the 808 hits already, you don't want to over equalize because that can, you know, over process your beat. So I'm going to turn up the 2 and then I'm going to move it over to hear a difference. This is going to add a little bit more rumble to what I have already. Therefore, when it matches the kick, everything hits. So that sounds pretty good. Let's hear what we got so far. Let's hear what we got already. Okay. And then one more thing I'll do, because I want my 808s to hit a little bit louder, I'll go to my piano roll and go to my velocity nods at the bottom. And then I'll hold left click, put them all the way up. And then I'll go to my mixer and watch the level to make sure it's not clipping and to make sure it's not distorting anything. And that's basically how you do slight equalization. The main trick with EQing is to barely EQ at all. You don't want to do too much equalization because a lot of times if people do a lot of heavy EQs, you may mess up the beat just because you're over processing it. So you want to just hit certain points of the frequencies and leave them be. And also pay attention to how every sound hits on your frequency. Don't just pay attention to the frequencies using your eyes. Also pay attention using your ears. Make sure you listen and make sure you also just watch. So just pay attention and you'll know what sound goes where and what sound sounds better. And that's basically how you guys use EQ. If you guys found this video helpful in any type of way, please subscribe, leave a comment. I appreciate you guys for tuning in to another BeatNerd 101 tutorial. Way more BeatNerd 101 tutorials on the way. Like I said, if you guys found this helpful, please leave a comment. And if you have any questions, leave questions and conversation below. Be on the lookout for more mixing tutorials. We're going to be trying to break this down one thing at a time. And thank you guys for tuning in. BeatNerd 101 out. Peace.